Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Knoxville Studio Tours. Today, I'll be visiting Mike Nelson at Parkridge Recording Company. Mike Nelson is a rock and indie pop producer in Knoxville, Tennessee, and he's known for his works with artists such as Caleb Mullins and The Witness, Fozzys Hero, Nance, and Weeping Cosmonaut. So this is actually my first time seeing Mike in person, but we've kept in contact via Instagram messages for about a year now. During that time, he's given me tons of tips, advice, and he's even critiqued a couple mixes of mine. And it's become clear to me in that time that Mike's an expert at his craft, and I'm really excited to see how he takes such good artists and makes them sound even better. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy.
Hey, what up, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
Nice to meet you.
So this is the center of your studio?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Tell me a bit about it. We could start wherever you want.
Centerpiece, I just would be like my interface over here. It's just a Focusrite red, so everything just goes through there. And then I got this like central station, which is just like talkback. I just got a mic up there. And these are just like an extra 8-channel preamp. So Blackline Audio, pretty much like their copy of an API. I just got this guy, SPL Vitalizer, been using it on like mixes. My 2 SSL 6 channels, SSL bus comp, and then that's a sub mixer, but it's like totally passive, so it's like no electronics. So I need to use like preamps to essentially get the gain back up to where I want it to be, but it's cool. Just like click it.
And so are those going to this patch bay?
Yeah, so everything's like wired up into the patch bay. Same from like my drum room. So I have like all my live stuff, the Focusrite red, the extra 8-channel, the Blackline Audio. This was a Focusrite ISA, but I recently sold it because it just doesn't have enough color that I like. These are like the SSLs, and then also like the, over here I have this compressor. It's like a Simtrax or something.
What's it called?
Simtrax? It's kind of off. I bought it on a whim, I'm not gonna lie. So I just use it on like toms and stuff. It's modded, so it's a little bit cleaner than most, but it's nothing like fancy. It's just like cheap compressor. DBX, I love this thing for like bass. Just sounds a little bit dirty, which is what I like. It's like the older version of like the DB, the 160A that I think they still have, or maybe discontinued. The Blackline Audio Bluey. I love this on vocals and bass. It's like Curse Lord Allergy's like copy of his Bluey is what they pretty much did. Blackline Audio's 1176, like Blackie.
Do you have any go-to settings for the Bluey on like vocals or anything like that?
Yeah, so I always do like medium attack and then just fast release. And then the 50s, the mix is always
that's cool. I didn't even know they had a mix knob.
Yeah, so you use the mix knob. If I use it for kit drum, I'll kind of like turn it down because like it gets aggressive and I don't really like that. But yeah, usually it's just always fast attack on like most things I do. And then I would just pin it.
Yeah, it's usually slammed pretty hard at like.
Yeah, and that's cool because like, you can like do the all thing.
Yeah, what do you use that all setting for?
I'll use it for like a parallel bus if I'm mixing like out maybe, like for like mono or something. But otherwise, I don't do the all thing that much. I've seen people do the all on the vocals, but it tends to be like a bit much for me.
Yeah, it's really slammed. It pretty much becomes a limiter at that point.
Yeah.
Especially with the fast attack time.
And I just feel like if I did do the all, I'd probably just, take that and dial it back because it'd just be like too much.
And so what's the difference between this one and that one?
The Bluey is just, this one sounds more aggressive. The Bluey and Blackie are just sound when Universal Audio came out with it. They're just like very different in sounds. This one sounds a little bit brighter to me. This one I like, I just don't like use it probably as much as this one. This one just has something special to it. And the fact that it's modeled after Curse Lord Allergy's Bluey. Because you can still buy the black 1176s, but you can't buy the Blues anymore unless you got like 10 or 20 grand, like the original. And who has that? Not me. No. And then I got like a headphone amp that goes into the next room, and then just some like boxes.
So you're able to send like a whole separate headphone mix through Ethernet to the other room?
Yeah, everything through Pro Tools.
Okay.
And then do that, and then this is if I want to like reamp my guitar. Or DI, if someone sends me a DI. This thing's cool because, so I have like guitar heads behind you, but I have a combo in there, so I can just send it, instead of like someone being in the same room, I can just send it through there. So it goes from like guitar to a balanced, and it runs through XLR to the other room. And then there's another one of these that just makes it into a guitar, high Z again. And then you just plug it right into the amp.
This bus compressor, that's mono? Is it
No, it's stereo.
Okay, so what are you using that for usually?
Mixes and like rooms.
So you put that on your mix bus then?
Yeah, so my mix bus will be, so like I have up here, I have like drums, bass, guitars, and then vocals. And I put everything to like these folders to make it easier. But like, so everything goes out. This is like 5 and 6 out of the red. And this is, the bass is like 9, so I just do mono, and then like 7 and 8. So I just patch everything to the summing mixer, and then it goes out the summing mixer into these preamps, the SSL6. And then from there, it goes into the SSLG comp, and then from there, it goes into the vitalizer, and then it goes back on 1 and 2 into there.
Where's the computer in here?
From around here.
Hidden?
Yeah, well, it's just like a little like Mac Studio thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's like the
Same
newer one,
yeah.
the M1 chips. It's like a little bit taller and stuff, and that just hides behind there.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I thought you had like a super like a soundproof chamber or something like you built it into or something.
No.
But yeah, the Mac's pretty awesome how it's like completely silent.
Yeah,
I think
I love
my
it.
speakers make more noise than the Mac Studio that I have.
do, especially like my Barefoots.
Speaking of which, the Barefoots were the first thing I noticed when I walked in here.
I always wanted a pair of Barefoots, but I didn't want to spend like $8 grand. So when they came out with like the 2 or 3 grand, whatever these are, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get these. But I don't really use them that much.
So you typically stick with the
Yeah, so I just
CLA
mix on
10s?
that. I mix on that, and then like I mix on like headphones. I'm ready to like just give me like crappy things to mix on.
Yeah.
Because I don't listen to like high-end stuff. I don't listen to high-end speakers. I don't have high-end speakers.
What are you doing with this? That just controls your Barefoots and CLA 10s?
Yes.
Okay. How do you feel about the CLA 10s? Do you feel like they give you more clarity or anything like that?
I feel like it gives me less frequencies, and that's why I
Really?
like it. Yeah. I feel like there's like NS10s, but like maybe a little bit more high-end and a little bit low-end. But like not as much low-end as like these. Those have like so much low-end.
Yeah, I've always heard the 10s are always pretty prominent in the mid-range.
They are,
You
they're so
think that's true?
Yeah. And you hear them like back to back, sometimes you're like, they sound like so harsh, but like in the best way possible.
And you feel like if you can get it good with the 10s, it'll pretty much translate.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway.
Yeah. And then I'll like maybe check the low end. But I mean, that's also what like cars are for, you know? Because longest time I didn't have the Barefoots. I went through like a couple, I went through like Dyne Audio and stuff, but I was always just like, I didn't really like them that much. So I always just do the 10s. When I got the 10s, I really like them. And I try and just stick to them. Yeah, they're super piercing in the mid-range.
Do you ever find yourself reaching for headphones to check low end or any other reason?
No, I have like, I bought these, like the DT, the Dynamic, whatever they're called. Like the higher end headphones, but I never use them. They kind of just sit here, to be honest. No, I check those and then like cars. So if it sounds good in the car, I'm like, all right, I don't have to worry about it. And then I have like one of those like JBL like Bluetooth speakers.
Yeah.
Usually we'll have it just sit on my speaker, and then I'll just use like, what's that app? It's like Listen To or something by Audio Movers. I'll use this for like mixing if someone's like out of state or something to do mixes, and I can just be like, oh, hey, right here. I can like copy a link and then just send it to them, and then they can open it up on like Safari or Google or something, and then they can just kind of listen to it.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I definitely got to look into that. How did you get all this treated?
So I made everything myself, if you can't tell. So I started off with these like 2-inch ones. So it's just like, I think it's like Owen Corning, the 703, the big like yellow squares. And then I just made the wood, just bought the wood, made a bracket around it essentially, and then just covered it with, I didn't go cheap with the covering though. I went with, it's like Guilford of Maine. So it's like good for acoustics, it's like fireproof. I think it's like the FR 701 or something. So I started off with those around, and then eventually got like thicker ones, the 4-inch ones. And then so I put those in the back. And then I eventually I had nothing in the corner, so then I eventually just made some corner bass traps. Also, I just like how they look, rather than just having a bunch of panels around.
Yeah.
And then these are just, it's like wood, so like the higher reflections will hit it. And then there's a bunch of like stuffing behind it. And then there's like more wood on the back.
So did you use any measurement tools, or you just do it by ear? Just whatever sounds right, sounds right?
Yeah, I didn't like measure my room. I didn't want to go down that route, because then you're just chasing it, and I don't want to chase it.
I've done that before. It's a rabbit hole, and I ended up just not using it anymore, and then just rocking the speakers and learning the speakers in the room instead. So.
Yeah, there's also, what is it, sonar, right?
There's sonar works, there's a couple.
But you put like the EQ on your bus. See, I don't want to do that.
See, I tried, what is it, ARC? For certain applications, it is useful. I've probably used it maybe 3 or 4 times. If you need something really precision EQ'd, it can help. It was neat to play around with it, regardless. You wanna go over the drum room?
Yeah, sure, let's do it.
This is pretty cool.
All right. Before you came over, I was like, should I set up the drums? Then I was like, my room's like small. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So I have a small room, but for some reason I was like, I'm gonna buy a 26-inch kit, which makes perfect sense. But I love it, it's like big and powerful. So it's just like a PDP Concept Maple kit. And then, you know, got matching 16, 14. And then I got this, it's a Bid Black by Pork Pie. It's just like a brass.
Is that like comparable to a, what's it called, a Black Beauty?
Yeah, pretty much like the cheaper version, I guess. But I like it. And then it's like maple snare that I totally just stole from my brother. He plays drums, but it's like, I don't want it, and I was like, I'll take it. So that's pretty much all my drums. They're just like some stands.
Do you keep them tuned a certain way or anything like that?
A little bit. I usually just like tune them every time. So I'm not a bit like, some people like keep their drum sets up like all the time, tuned a certain way. Same with like Pro Tools templates. I'm not that person. I'm usually just like, let me like restart. And I think you learn / I don't want like the same thing every time. I feel like that's like boring, especially with bands. But I don't want those like drum tune bots. So I kind of just like tune it with that. I know like Sam Piera does like the, like tunes his drums to the song.
I've heard of people doing that.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about doing that. He does like, I think the hit drums are the root note, and then the 5th is a snare. And I think his toms are like the 4th or something, but which is cool. But I feel like then you have to do it like for every single song on a record. And I'm not that like big producer, so I'm just.
You
like,
might even have to check it between takes. If y'all take like a lunch break or something, I gotta check my toms again, make sure they're the 3rd, you know? Do you offer for them to let them use your kit because it's set up, or do they usually prefer to use their own?
They will usually use my kit, but if they want to use their own kit, like I don't care. Some people have like a lot of toms and stuff, and I'm like, that's cool, you can bring like your kit. But I'm always like, you could use my kit drum and then some other stuff, and then you don't have to bring as much, which like as a drummer, I feel like.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I feel like they always have to like load around so much stuff.
It's like, oh, my back's breaking a little bit less today.
Yeah.
So typically they prefer to use yours that's already set up. That makes sense.
The biggest thing is like heads. Like if you come in and like their heads are just like really bad. Yeah, they don't even be brand new, but they need to like not be like 2 years old. Same with like guitar strings. That's a big thing where I'm like, change your guitar strings before. Change your bass strings like a week or 2 before, because they get very rattly if you change them the day before, or guitar strings.
You're having them change it like, are people usually recording for about a week here or a couple of days?
It depends. If it's just like one song, it might be just a day. It might be 2 or 3 days if I'm like doing more writing or producing with it. But if they have the song done, usually it's just like, hey, we'll do like a 12-hour day or something like that. Yeah. So these are 2 bass cabs from Black Market Custom. They're not a company anymore because I think they went bankrupt or something. So they're like $500 or $600 per cab, but you can choose like whatever you want, which is like really good. So it's like cheaper than an orange cab, and that's why I chose like blue with like the brown basket weave. I'm gonna be honest, I do not use them at all because I always just do bass DI, so I just don't see the point. I do use this and like all this lot. So Vox AC15, like the white Bronco they came out with, has a cream back in it. I like that a little bit more than the like the green or the blue that they usually have in it. It has like more mid-range, which is what I like. Orange 112 has a V30 in it. This is an old vintage Sun Cab. It has like the old JBLs in it, but I might switch them out because they just sound like kind of old and like fizzy in the top end. Sounds cool if you want something like really indie rock, but if you want something like clean, kind of like sounds bad. So I'll probably switch those out. It's a 215. Yeah, if I have to buy a cab and then like switch out the speaker, yeah, that's like super annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been all Sims lately just because my whole room's probably smaller than this that I work in. I can barely do drum recordings right now. We have to clear everyone out of the room and then get sweaty, just 4 dudes in a room just drumming, you know?
That's how you bond.
Yeah. I have to ask about this wall though.
Okay, have you ever seen Recording Studio Loser on YouTube?
No, I haven't. I'll have to check it out.
Okay, so I forget his name. He's from Ohio or something, but he has a light wall. He has like 2 light walls because he has a huge studio. But it's just like MDF, and then it's just like, it's actually the same lights I have outside my house. It's just like those string lights you can hang up, and then I just poked a hole in each one with like a drill, and then I just put it in, and they'll look nice.
I mean, it looks like you've been busy with all of it, with the panels, the light wall, just everything. It seems like you know your way around how to like build stuff overall.
Yeah, enough, yeah. And there's all YouTube and the internet. Well, that's how I did a lot of the panels. I was like, I want something that works, that I can use in my studio, but also like, it needs to look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, these I can light when I do drums. I'll just like, I have the one behind you and I'll just like move it. So, and that's like super helpful. And then I'll put like, I know we talked about it once, the drum mic in the closet.
Yeah, I can't remember how you said you mic it up in the closet. Do you remember what mic you usually use in there and how you set it up?
So I use just any kind of large condenser mic. So I got these recently that I use. I think it's like Muro acoustics.
Actually, I haven't
Pretty
seen
cool.
that before.
No, I haven't either. I made a post on like Instagram and I was like, hey, I'm looking for a new mic, or on TikTok. And they hit me up and I saw like some other people had their mics. I'm not really sure how much they are, but they gave me a price and I was like, oh, they're super cheap. And I think it was like $600 and I got like 4 mics, which is pretty cool and cheap. And normally I'd be like, oh, these sound like crap, but they actually sound like really good for like how cheap they are. So yeah, I'll take these out. I have like the dart crash. I love dart cymbals compared to like the A's, the zillion A's and stuff, because I just hate bright cymbals. Like when I'm mixing, I'm like, anything above like 12K, my cymbals are like, they're not there, because I don't want them.
Yeah, that's something I need to pay more attention to, is what cymbals we use when we record.
Never mind, I feel like it just goes into like the snare mic a lot more. You know, when you have like these like bright frequencies that you just don't want. So yeah, so I have everything like dark, these like dark A's. The only thing I don't have that's like a dark cymbal is this ride. It is an A, it's a sweet ride. I was a huge like Blink-182 fan growing up, and that's just what Travis Barker used. I'm also a huge Jerry Finn, and that's what he uses a lot. And then a lot of drummers I like just end up using sweet rides, so I love it. It doesn't really have a bell on it or anything, but it just sounds really nice.
It just sounds good.
Yeah, but it's not like overly bright, which is great.
And for that room mic, are you putting it close to the floor or up at a certain level, anything like that?
So I try to put it like up a little bit. I'll experiment. Sometimes I'll just like put them on the ground, and then you get all that like bass frequency, which is cool. I have taped it to like back to these every now and then, but usually I'm just like taking everything out of my closet, so all the waves like bounce around and stuff, which almost acts like a compressor in a way, you know, because all the waveforms are just like bouncing everywhere in there. But you don't have like the reflection of everything, because you know, I just have everything. I have like the door shut. I checked out the doorknob because I just wanted to see if I could get a little bit more sound without like opening the door. So if I opened it, I was like, this is too much. But when I closed it, I was like, this is too little.
So it seems like you're like changing up the process, not doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
You like to experiment.
Or it's my ADD and I just get bored doing the same thing. It's also like not fun if I just like do everything the same. I feel it's like working a 9-to-5 job or something where I'm just like, same templates, same this, same that.
This just goes back to the control room?
Yep. So each one just plugs into these. I only have like 1 through 16, so I don't use the rest. I used to just have like cables everywhere, and I thought it looked like crap. So I just I found one of these on like Reverb, and then it just plugs into the back, and then there's a snake that goes into the patch bay, and that is it.
And is this just another DI box right here?
Oh yeah, that's the guitar thing I was telling you about. You plug your guitar into the other box, and then it comes in via XLR. And then I would plug a guitar cable into there, and then I would plug into this combo. Or pedal, well, actually no, the pedals would be in there. So just combo, yeah. And then you don't have to have like guitar player in here. I don't have to put the amp in there and then use this cab. Because if I use this, I want the cream bath that's in it, you know?
Since the guitar player could stay in there, you can just talk to him instead of having,
yeah,
hey,
exactly.
here's
yeah,
a mic so we
yeah.
can do this while you're in the other room. Do you have to do that for the drummer? Or do you have to talk to the snare mic, or?
I have like a mic I just put up, essentially. Sometimes I just won't do it because there's like overheads, there's a snare mic, there's a room mic, there's so many mics, I'm like, do I really need to do this? But yeah, and then like I can talk to them on this headphone amp.
I was looking at this. So can they control like their own elements of their mix? It looks like they have an EQ here as well.
Yeah, I tell people not to touch the EQ because unless you just really want to EQ it, but you don't really have to do that. But yeah, it's like Vox. Usually it's like for the drummer, it's like the rough mix and then their drums. So if they want to turn themselves up, they can do that, and I don't have to play the is this good enough? Is this good enough? Is this good enough? You know? So they just do it themselves.
Like trying to do a whole monitor mix on the fly. It's just time wasted when they can just
turn up a little bit. Yeah. And if they get like to a certain part of the songs, and they're like, hey, I want to be like really loud. This part, they just turn it up. They also have their click, so they can turn that up, and they just have control, which I think is nice for them. And then they have a talk back. They can hear me, and then people like to write cuss words on it, apparently.
How'd you get this, by the way?
I just went on Etsy.
Really?
I looked around here and I couldn't find like anyone who would do one for like not a stupid amount of money.
They make that custom for you on Etsy?
Yeah, it's like some dude who makes signs.
There's another one up there with a skateboard.
And then I just skateboards. I love skateboards.
Yeah, how did you get that? I meant to ask.
CCS. They used to send out those like little like magazines in like late 90s, early 2000s, and they send you them every week, and I was big on like skateboarding and stuff. So yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna get something that says Parkridge.
Were you like a skateboarder growing up then?
At one point it was like, am I gonna keep skateboarding or am I gonna play in band? So I was like really into skateboarding and like doing the videos and like kind of trying to be good at it. And then at some point I just started a band, I started playing shows, started touring, and then I was like, well, I can't do both.
I tried to. I think in 5th grade I quit because I busted my face on some concrete, and I was so bad at it, dude. I was literally just going straight down my driveway and fell, busted my lip, and I was just bleeding everywhere.
Where you're like, hey, I was like doing a really cool trick skateboarding because I'm so good.
No, I admitted that I'm just bad at it. Yeah, could you show us these guitars?
Yeah, so I'll show you the two, I guess, worst ones. Probably Jasmine, I don't know, it's still a really cheap acoustic. I mostly just use it for like filler stuff. So if I have like a chorus, I want like some acoustic in it, I just use that. Usually I just tell people to bring their own acoustic, because they probably have a better one if they're into that. I don't play acoustic enough to be like, let me like buy like a higher end one. This is like my second guitar I ever bought, and I don't really use it except for I tuned it to like a Nash tuning, which is like the first 3 strings are like 12-string guitar. 12-string guitar, and it's just like tuned really high compared to like normal guitar. And then I'll just use this on like a chorus, you know, to fill it in. Or maybe add some like higher end in the last chorus. Hollow body, I like it. Just stock pickups, because I don't usually like change things out. I recently got a Strat, so I've been wanting one. And I love them, but I also hate them, because I feel like they're only good for like certain things. And then I grew up playing bass, so I love P basses. Usually if someone brings in their bass, they'll end up just playing my P bass, because I think P basses just sound the best on like everything. I think it's on all the records I grew up were like P basses.
What are these 2 amps right here? You got an orange and a...
This is an orange OR15. It's just like has like a 5-watt, 7-watt version. Because you saw my room, so I don't want like a 100-watt amp. This one's cool. It's a Hughes and Kettner. I think it's like a German brand. It has like a 20-watt, 5-watt, 1-watt, which is cool. So like you can go down to like the 1-watt and not be loud at all.
Yeah.
Which is like concern. Like I don't want to be like super loud since I'm like just renting my house. But it's really cool. It has like no speaker load essentially, and you just like plug it in like into my interface.
So it has an IR built in?
Yeah. It has one. I don't use that. I'll usually use like Get Good Drums has like their own IRs.
Yeah, direct out to your board and then use your own IR. Okay,
and not use a cab at all, and not make any noise, which would be nice if I'm like maybe like producing something, and then I'm working on it like super late.
And what about these pedals? Do you use those a bunch?
I do. I use this one a lot. It's like a high band flange. This one just does like the high frequencies, which I like. Just if you get like the low frequencies, they just sound like subby and like weird.
Yeah.
And I'm not really into that. This is just a normal tremolo. I bought this because I thought I broke my Vox amp, and when I use the Vox amp, I use the tremolo. So if I need tremolo, I just use the Vox amp. And so I broke it, so I bought this like a week later. And then I realized one of the tubes just like kind of like fell out a little bit. I was like, great, I don't spend money. But then I just spent money on this tremolo kind of for nothing. Yeah, I love the DL4s. Delay, anything, reverse. I use it a lot for reverse stuff. But it has like so many different delays.
And what are the stomps for, the 4 separate stomps on it? Like, do those get mapped and you can go between different types of delays?
I mean, you can. I just use it for like a simple, like, I'll like choose my delay, and then you can do the tempo. That's it. I'm not really using these. I'm a simple guy.
Yeah.
So I just usually just do like the tape echo, maybe the analog delay, and then the reverse. If I don't choose just reverse it in Pro Tools. This is a boost pedal. Not much to say about it. Boosts into your signal. The reason I love it though is if you use like another boost, it has like low end or high end in like some of the other ones, or they're just EQ'd, and I hate that. I just want like my signal, but I want it like louder.
So this one just raises the level?
Yes, so you can drive it into your amp, or you can drive it into a pedal, and just do cool things like that.
So it's like dead simple. It's not doing anything you don't want it to do.
Exactly. So I'm a simple guy, like I said. 1981, it's like Matthew Hoop's pedal company. It's pretty much like a Rat, which I think I have one. All right, so I have this old Rat that's from like 1985. That's cool, because it just says like the Rat on it. This one, so essentially like very similar circuits. This has more of a dip in it, and this has more mid-range. And I don't know, Matt just, he used like the Rat on like the and like all the other Lion K records. I like it. I don't use it all the time, because like my amps just have distortion. And if I can use amp distortion, I'll use that. But I'll have this for just like different flavors, you know? I really like this on bass when I used to play bass a lot more. But like, yeah, I'm kind of like with you. I don't like love like the Rat sound.
Yeah.
It just has this weird like stoop thing that I just don't like in it. Speaking of trying things like on amp sims and stuff, I use this in STL Tones, and I really liked it, so then I bought it.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm getting to too, is where I find the digital version of things.
Yeah.
Find out I like the digital version, and then I move on and get the real one if I have the money.
I usually just buy what I like and what I'll use. That's why I don't have like a crazy ton of amps and a crazy ton of like outboard gear. Because like, if I don't use it, I'm trying to sell it and buy something I do use.
Yeah. And so you've got is that a diffuser back there?
Yeah, it is. So it's from like a studio when I lived in Nashville. So it's not really for this room, but I didn't want to throw it out. So I just threw it in there. I don't really think it does anything, to be honest. It's also like a pain in the butt to cut each block.
Yeah, I'm
like
sure.
there's so many.
And they all have to be like a completely different size.
Yes.
Yeah, I've wanted to build one of those forever, but I don't have like the mental fortitude to do it.
Just buy one. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna buy one. And there's like cooler ones now where they're like painted all black and stuff. But like every time I read about them, it's like small rooms. They're like useless.
Oh, really?
So I'm just like, I'm gonna do it. But people still have them.
Other than that, you just got some more cables over there?
Yeah, I like being organized, so I just always buy like stuff that I need. I hate when you just have cables lying around, or you have to do the whole like untangle them all, which is like super annoying.
Can't stand that.
Yeah. Well, it's just easier when you're like working at the band too, and you like know where everything is, you know? I feel like that's what makes like a home studio like more of a professional studio versus like a home studio. If you like I have a patch bay, and I can like just like, if I need something, just write to it right away. I don't have to like crawl under my desk and be like, all right, let me plug this in.
When we're recording like drums and stuff, I try to keep everything in a set spot.
Yeah. You have to turn your like AC off.
Yeah.
In your room.
So we have like the vents that come out.
Okay. Yeah.
And I have a shelf. It's like a plastic shelf thing right above it, and I have to shove my binder in there. It just so happens that a binder is the perfect shape to get wedged in there and stop all airflow. So are you using a trigger on the kit? Okay.
Do you use trigger at all?
No, I don't. So
what are you doing?
I use Superior Drummers detecting the snare hits and stuff like that. You can send them each mic for each thing, Only issue with that is sometimes it'll think a tom hit is a snare.
hit, yeah.
So I have to go through and manually do all of it. It gets the bulk of the work done, but I do have to double check all of it.
Imagine if you do all of it.
Yeah, I know, right?
All right, so yeah, I use a trigger 2.
Okay.
All right, so I'll do it pretty much how like I learned it from like Time Lordology, where you take your kick, actual kick mic, so I just duplicated, and then I'll use the gate of the kick, you know, and I'll just pretty much get that. It doesn't even have to be like the whole kick. You just need the hits. That's all I need. So, and then I'll bounce that, and then end up with like a track like this, which has like no bleed. Yeah. And I'll do that for toms, snares, kicks.
So with any of this, is there any records like specifically that you really feel like any of this gear like really brought out that sound?
Probably my speakers. I feel like I got them, my mixes got better because I focused on the mid-range. And yeah, especially since like a small room, so you have like too much low end. I feel like that's all you hear, and I feel like I was like taking that out of my mixes, and then I go to the car and go, oh, this sounds like nothing like my favorite records. Now I can like listen to my favorite records and be like, oh, this actually sounds good. Where like a year or two ago, I was like, I don't know how to get this sound. But even now, like a year from now, I'll be like, oh, my mixes sound better than like last year's, which I feel like is like what you're supposed to do. But now I feel more confident where I like hear a record. I hear like my favorite record, and then I play my song, and I'm not like, oh, this is gonna sound bad. I'm like, oh, this sounds like pretty good. But then there's like that mental, whatever you have to do in your mind to be like, hey, like my song's never gonna sound like their song. Because that's like so hard sometimes, especially when you first start out, and you're like, why doesn't it sound just like this? Why don't I sound like Silverstein or Bayside or Sum 41 or this is Blink-182 record? Yeah. And you're just like, you're never gonna sound like Tom Lordology. Even if you take all the settings, you'll never sound like that, which is good. You should sound like your own way, but still be able to be like, does my own way sound bad or sound good? If it sounds bad, let me work on it, you know, that's what you do. And then, yeah, there's like little things where like in the drums and be like, hey, my drums aren't loud enough. When I put a limiter on it or master it, it like ducks down, so maybe my snare has to come up because you like clip things when you master.
You're probably never gonna get sound exactly the same because I mean, it's different instruments, different signal chains, all that.
Yeah, never mind that like, you're not Tom Lordology. You're not me, you're not getting my same, which is good. Like you don't want, if I had the same side mixes as those dudes, I guess I could be like, hey, I can get his sound, but cheaper. But like, who wants cheap? It's
much better to be able to say, hey, I can get a really good sound, and it's mine.
I want people to hire me and be like, hey, I like the sound you have. And it sounds good, and it sounds like other records. Because like no record sounds the same, which is good. I think the more important thing is like when you work with a band to get like their sound, don't be like, hey, you're gonna sound like this. Like hear them first and be like, hey, how can I make you sound better or make you sound like you?
Try to make the Beatles sound like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that'd be like, yeah, like why would you do that? I think it's cool that like bands can like record themselves now. Because one, they come to the studio more prepared, and then two, like they kind of just have the knowledge of it, which is cool. And then three, they can kind of just record themselves and be like, hey, does this song sound good? Does it sound bad? Maybe I need to like rework something before I go into the studio. If you just want like your songs tracked and like mixed, but not like fully produced or songwriting even.
It can give them the kind of perspective that you're working with when you're making their record.
Yeah, and they can kind of know if they come in. So if they don't and they come in, I may be like, hey, you're off the metronome. And they may be like, no, I'm not. Or they just might get hurt by it. And you're just like, you have to kind of be like, oh, let's just do it again, maybe without being like, hey, you're doing this wrong. Some people get in their head. I feel like as a producer, you have to almost be like a therapist and just be like, hey, like work through it, or just like maybe not mention that they're doing bad and try and get a good take out of it. Never mind you like customer service anyways as a producer. You're never like, this is how it's going to be, and you have to take it and like it.
You're more kind of guiding them through the process than ordering them.
Yeah, and like what do they want? I want to like serve you.
Keep the focus on this is all just to get the best sound we can.
Yeah.
That's all of our goals. And especially now that they're able to record themselves, like you said, they can get, oh, that's why we want to stay on the click. Even though it's a little bit rigid sometimes, it sounds really good.
Yeah.
When you're like dead on time, you know, when you're really locked in.
Yeah. Also, this desk, I bought it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't love it. I want those like mastering desks, everything's in front of you. They look cooler. So there's actually like racks behind here that you can see. I don't use them because I don't like them. I didn't like the screen up top. I fill it out just like this. So I found like a thing that goes on your monitor, and I just like lean it back. And then I couldn't fit 2 speakers, so
I think this looks way better anyway. I love the whole slanted monitor. It's like a console type thing. And I think I saw you make your own like promo videos and stuff too, right? Are you setting that up? Do you have like someone that films for you, or are you setting up a tripod with a camera?
Yeah, so I usually have a tripod. I don't have it up right now, but with the camera that just points here. Most of the time it's just like set up, so I just like hit record real quick, because I just want like to be like really easy. And then I use like this mic to talk into, and then I will just use OBS, and that will like capture my my mic. I mean, get Pro Tools into OBS. I use this thing called Loopback.
Oh,
as
that's
your computer.
awesome. You have like internal like routing system.
Yeah.
Like literal cables going across, right?
Yeah. So if I just want to do like a capture of like a mix I'm doing and not do like a whole actual video, I'll just use Loopback. And I'll just use this, and I'll just hit like start recording, and I'll play it, and then I can just airdrop it to my phone, and then just put it in like an Instagram story. That's another thing I'm like huge on, is like social media. Because you have to be, you can't just like sit here and be like, why is no one hiring me? I made a website and everything. Because I've done that, and like you have to do social media.
That's something I've always thought you were really good at. Because I always see, you're posting almost daily, right?
Yeah.
Pretty close to daily. I tried to, I'm like, this is so much work.
Oh, it is. You have to like figure it out.
On top of mixing songs and producing people to learn a whole nother field, pretty much, doing video on your own, like, it's a lot.
It is. I mean, it took me a couple years just to like do it. And like, I got Final Cut Pro, I had to like learn how to do that. And then, you know, just make sure like it looks good in like the phone state mode and everything else. And then not do the thing that I think a lot of producers do, where they're like, this is how I mix the song, or this is how you EQ your kick drum. I think those are super easy. I used to do them too, but I feel like you just get like other audio engineers liking your stuff. And my point of social media is to get like artists and stuff. So if I show a mix, I'm usually like, this is why I did it emotionally. Maybe this is why you need to do it. Maybe this is why you need to hire me to help you. Versus like, here's 5K on your kick drum. That's why you should do this. Because like, artists don't care about that. Artists don't care about gear. They don't care about anything about that.
And it kind of demonstrates that you understand where the artist is coming from. It's not that you can just talk with like audio guys.
Yeah.
You understand how to communicate with artists and more than that.
Yeah. I mean, I love when an artist gives you like mix notes and they're just like, hey, this is like, doesn't feel right, doesn't feel that. Just tell me how you feel, because I can relate to that more.
And if you start saying like, if people start telling you, hey, this is how you need to EQ, it's like, okay, what are you listening to?
Yeah.
You know, we got to factor
There's
that
so
in.
many things, yeah.
Because it's like, oh, well, I'm in an empty room with big, like huge speakers. You know, well, of course the bass is gonna be boosted.
Listen to what you're comfortable on. I'm comfortable in my car, on like the Bluetooth speakers around my house, and then like Apple earbuds. So when I like check my mixes, that's what I'm like checking on. I listen on my phone too, because I'll just like place my phone down sometimes and listen to music. Or like if you're scrolling through Instagram and you see like a new band, you're probably gonna listen to it through your iPhone speakers. So like make sure they sound good.
Yeah, I think the phone is always a good litmus test.
What's his name? He does like Cardi B, he did like some Beyonce stuff. Leslie Bradwaith or something like that. He does a lot of hip hop. He used to do studio, but in the pandemic, he went to his house, but he was like, yeah, I just grabbed my bid, like, it's like bid speakers, and he put them in his like Cadillac or something. And he just mixed them in the back seat or something. And I was like, that's crazy. That's like ridiculous.
I heard one of the teachers at Pellissippi said he took a huge sub, pulled his car up out the window, and then he recorded that, and it just sounded awesome, apparently. I love cool stuff like that, little things like that, getting more creative with how you make the songs. I think that's awesome. Dante's super expensive, isn't it?
It is, and you need like a whole nother thing over there. It seems cool, because I would have no cables like around, and like that's cool, but it just seems like a weird, like, I would have to buy something there to communicate in here, and then I would have to go in there to here, and then also still my preamps. I've only thought about it because the Focusrite Red has Dante. So I was like, that could be cool. But like, I don't know, I feel it's like a cool thing, but like way too much money for what I have to do. And I'm big on like
maybe
not having a lot
day.
of overhead. I just kind of like Atmos, how I feel. Like I really like Atmos. I love it. When I first like heard about it, I was like, oh, this is cool. Let me like try to do some Atmos stuff. But I don't know. Some of the newer stuff is sounding better, but it doesn't sound like much different than stereo.
Have you considered doing the whole...
I have, and I think my room's like too small if I still want to have people in here.
Yeah.
Also, no one's coming to me and going like, hey, can you do an Atmos mix?
If I was asked like every day to do it, I'd probably throw the money and do it. But yeah, I don't think I've had a single person ask me to do it before. Do you like that the Avid keyboard?
I do. I bought it because I just wanted a keyboard that lights up, and like the Apple one didn't at the time. But yeah, I don't really use it for like the shortcuts. Like, there's some where like I forget and I'll use it. But I just like how it looks more than anything else.
And at this point, I'm sure it's probably all muscle memory for you, for the shortcuts you do need.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing when I started recording. I would always hear people be like, learn your shortcuts. So like I would just go online, like print out like a thing and just learn it. And now the shortcuts I use, I just know. I use them like every day.
Since you're doing this full time, like at some point, you're just gonna know. It's like playing piano pretty much.
Yeah,
you're just gonna know how to do it.
Yeah, it's all like muscle memory. Oh, and then like Command S, I feel like is like every 2 seconds. I'm just like Command S, Command S, Command S.
I've had it crash so many times and I've wanted to just throw my computer out the window.
That was my old MacBook. It just crashed like all the time and I hated it.
When I first started in high school, I built my own PCs. I wasn't good at it. And it really started showing when I was I had huge mixes. All my reverbs weren't on a bus, they were on individual tracks. But I still had like 100-track sessions. And since I built my own PC, it ran pretty badly. I would have to bounce the mix, listen to the mix, make notes of changes to make, go in, do not hit play, it'll crash. Make those changes, and then rebound.
I did that with like my drums. I would have to bounce my drums. My drums always had like so much more than anything else. And
it's a struggle, dude. It's not fun at all.
And that concludes this episode of Knoxville Studio Tours. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.